I've been searching for words to try and describe the end of that game, but I have still come up short. 416 runs scored. The last few, well, it's not for the faint-hearted. I actually have this book of mine, a combination of the fact that I've had to write a lot of numbers down, but also I was ready to eat this piece of paper with the fact that I had written off Chennai at the 10-over mark on Cricbuzz Combox, and I promised that I would do so if they got there. And towards the end, I started getting there. My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live to wrap everything up, and I have a counter quiz question for one of my guests before we start. 1949. 1949 is a number I'm going to throw at you. And Joy, you have two options. Option A, it's the average year of the books that you pull out from behind you. And option B, it's the total number of experience in terms of games that the Rajasthan team had when they started this game.
It's an absolutely bizarre thing. I mean, I have absolutely this. I mean, as I said before, I even come to your number, I'm beginning to. There are too many numbers in my head because I'm trying to make sense of a cricket match which I am making absolutely no sense of. If somebody can hit sixes the way Dhoni could in the last over, why didn't he start hitting them 3 overs earlier? What exactly happened? Why did they play the way they did? And if they can, why was this? I mean, I'm sorry. I do not understand this chase. It's beyond me. I'll leave it to a wiser brain, Harsha. I'll leave it to you.
Harsha?
No, I heard you. I was just pausing. I heard you. I was just pausing and searching for words. You know, what it reminded me of was when the master tells the students, okay, it's up to you. I'll show you from time to time how it's done. So, Dhoni hits 3 sixes in the last over. See, hits 55 of 19 after dawdling 17 of 18. Murli Vijay starts 11 runs an over of 21. Dhoni is 10 of 13, and they still get to 200. That tells you that hitting sixes was so easy. They weren't. For a major part of that run chase, it wasn't a chase. It was just a second innings. And from time to time, they'd switch it on to make all of us stupid, and then they'd go back in. So, well, I couldn't figure that run chase out, I'm afraid. So you look at that game and say, yeah, 216, 200. But were Chennai ever in the game? No.
Yeah, that's one of those things, one of these times when you look back at scorecards, you look at archives and pick them up. And honestly, if we didn't have this discussion, or if you weren't there, you look back and say, wow, this was a close game. They must have fought tooth and nail, but the scoreboard pressure got to them. 200 chasing 217. Well done. What a match. It must be worth pulling out.
No, absolutely. You know, Gautam, what you're saying is absolutely right. Because I mean, from the very start, Murli Vijay, for example, I can understand. He's low on confidence. Okay, so he wants to set up. But if you're low on confidence, you know that this is one match actually where nobody will blame you. If you go there and blaze for it, nobody will blame you. You know, I know that the young Ruturaj Gaikwad looked like a bit of a fool because first ball he had a rush of blood and he just rushed. But the point of it is I can still believe that, okay, I'm a kid, I'm inexperienced, I was very excited, I wanted to get on with it, and the bowler fooled me. It's a rush of blood. You know, somebody in the dressing room will say, Stephen Fleming will say, okay, you learned something from that. I did not understand what Murli Vijay did because this was a chance for him to play without pressure. Nobody would blame you. You're going at 11 and over, you have to go for it. And these are the kind of things that throughout this innings, if he was able to hit like that, why did he start hitting so late? Even Dhoni started hitting, it was all over. The game was all over by the time Dhoni started hitting. So beyond explaining to our people, otherwise just showing to people that, okay, you know, we can really do it if we need to. I'm not going to do it today. I'm struggling to understand.
The other question I'll have.
On the Cricbuzz app, yeah, sorry, Gautam, quick one. On the Cricbuzz, there is a column that says overs that tells you how many runs were made of that over as you go along. I'm just looking in the Chennai Super Kings innings and look at the fluctuation. In 11 run over chase, there was an over of 5, 3, 6, 4, 7, 5, 7, 7. You can't win. You can't win like that. 7 to 15, they made 78 runs. You can't do it so slowly. And what will be perplexing to Chennai fans is the ridiculous ease with which Faf hit those and Dhoni was just saying, "Chal dikhai dete hain yaar." You know, as if to say, you know, that hardware shop that Gautam knows, all of us have been in charge of those hardware shops outside, as if to kiya tha, chalo le hi de hi deta unko. I don't know.
And by the way, it did reach that hardware shop, and a guy did pick it up and a souvenir, and he took it home.
I mean, people are going to say net run rate, right? Yeah. People are going to say net run rate, yeah. You know, over a period of time. Last year, for example, there were 3 teams stuck on 12 and 1. So net run rate is important, and there's nothing wrong with that. But how easily they came there? Can you imagine getting 218 in a run chase? What that to the opposition? So I don't know.
The other interesting one which I was going to come up with, yes, the other 19th over comparison. Let's remind you, folks, that 51 runs came off the 20th over, if you count the 2 innings. 20th over of the Rajasthan innings and the Chennai innings. Part of it hit by Jofra Archer. The other part hit by MS Dhoni when he finally decided to show the world what he's capable of doing. And 51 runs there, 19 overs, 186 was where Rajasthan were. 19 overs, 179. That tells you that it was within reach if you wanted it to be within reach. But it obviously wasn't. In fact, even if you go to the beginning of the innings, Harsha, when you talked about Murali Vijay, and the reason I bring this up is because we need to announce our My 11 Circle, the certain award that we did not get in the first innings, the badge of honor, which Joy had in his hands and was snatched away. In this innings, after 5 overs, 36, I thought I'm doing pretty well. 48 was my cutoff. That's the way they've started. Thank you so much. I just started patting the badge of honor. And that was the only one big over that Shane Watson came up with. And it goes to you. So, Harsha, congratulations on the My 11 Circle badge of honor. If you'd like it.
Just refresh my memory. What was the score after 6?
53.
Okay. You know, it's, you know.
That was probably, Harsha, the only target that anyone got right bang on today.
It takes some time to get over this. I mean, look at when Dhoni's hit those 6s. Last over starts, right? You need 38 to get 1. Then you start hitting 6, 6, 6. At that point, when the last over started, Dhoni was 9 of 12. Then he was 10 of 13. I can understand the game, but they'd reached a stage where he needed 6s at both ends. So, yeah, it looked good on net run rate.
Yeah, it'll look good in the archives. It'll look good on net run rate. And you'd love to be in a fly on the wall in that Chennai dressing room tonight, unless they've swatted even the flies away in the way that they did in that last over. But Joy, I know there's going to be discussions on this everywhere. We're not going to try and make sense of it anymore. But are there any positives that Stephen Fleming would look to take out of this?
I think it's difficult to say. I mean, again, I think Sam Curran has been electric out there. He's given them something. I'll tell you the problem with what I think this current Chennai team is. And I'm being very honest about it. My problem is so many of them are not playing regular cricket, whether it's international or state, that they all are playing out there, going out there and playing tentative and safe to start with. There's nobody out there who's saying, I'm going to blaze from the start because, it doesn't matter to me. Who's the guy who's doing that? Sam Curran. Why? Because Sam Curran has been playing of late. He's okay. He's confident. He's out there to play. Everyone else is saying, let me just see the ball round a bit. And when the target is 217, you can't see the ball out a bit. You cannot do that. That Murali Vijay innings was a shame. It shouldn't have happened. Somebody had to go for it, blaze from one end, and it couldn't have been that all of it had to be done by Watson. And that's my problem, that there's too many people out there sitting on the fence and saying, I don't want to take the chances, somebody else takes the chance. And there's only 1 or 2 Sam Currans who are taking the chances. And that is what Chennai may have to grapple with. Look, they've surprised us before in the past. Dhoni is a magician. He can pull a rabbit out of the hat anytime. But that, as a supporter, and we all love watching the Chennai Super Kings play, as somebody who appreciated Dhoni's game, it's very difficult to, at this point in time, put your weight behind the team.
Because Dhoni thinks so differently, we've always got to search for a method with what Dhoni does. Because he thinks so differently. Today, I think he might have said at the toss, he said, we will be a safe fielding side, not the best fielding side, because we are not the fittest. So I wonder whether this is the team that I have. This team is going to take time to warm up. By the time we get to the last few games, we should of contention and be ready to qualify. So we won one. Let's come close. Next 3-4 games, we'll all get our act together, still stay in contention. All ready, we're all warmed up, we're all match fit, we'll go for it. I mean, because Dhoni thinks so differently, you've got to start searching on the approach.
Well, I'm just going to throw one quick question at you before we go to our next segment. And that is the last number I'm going to throw for the moment, the number 7, which we all know is a number that he wears on his back. It's a number that he likes. But was that the number he should have batted at today?
I frankly, there was a
yeah. Go, Joy.
Yeah, so my point was, look, the left-right worked for a while. He sent Sam Curran in early, but Kedar Jadhav before him, I mean, I think the decision 7-5 maybe I could have understood. 7 in a run chase of 217 seemed way too late. If you are the kind of guy who can hit sixes the way he showed us in the last over, you should have been coming in earlier than that. And if you were repeatedly sending left-hand batsmen to balance it out, I can understand. But then you sent Kedar Yadav as well. So no, I simply do not understand.
All right, let's head to. Go ahead, Harsha. Yeah.
If Dhoni needs 15 balls, right? I mean, those sixes that he hit today were just monsters. I mean, they were not normal sixes. They would have been sixes on any showground. If he needs those 15 balls, then surely he's got to come up. And I don't know, there's this weird thought floating in my. It's too weird. Just mute me. Which is, I just wonder if Dhoni is saying, guys, I'm not going to be around forever. Come, you guys go and play. Because I'm not going to be around forever. Ruturaj Gaikwad, come on, let me see how you do it. Sam Curran, let's see how you do it. I just wonder if that was the case, because he had be batting at 7 in that run chase. Okay, you're trying to mute me.
I picked up a remote control and decided that I shouldn't be. No, you make an excellent point there, and I think it was almost harking back to the kind of things Ravichandran Ashwin said about MS Dhoni that we played out in our pre-show. But let's move away from there for the moment, because it's a discussion that can go on, and go to our boost stamina meter. We talked about one of the Chennai bowlers, Deepak Chahar, in the pre-show, but here we're going to look back at this game and find out who our man on the boost stamina meter is, and it had to be the captain of the Rajasthan team, Steven Smith. He hung in there, he batted throughout. Look at the number of balls he batted, 111 balls. But it's not just the stamina of batting the long innings, batting deep, taking the team deep and scoring runs, but look at the number of runs he took in singles for himself, for the opponent, and when the boundaries were not coming, he was running up and down as if his life depended on it.
I thought it was a fantastic contribution. I think it's a testament to his fitness for a guy who's had a concussion scare. The kind of running between the wickets he's done, some 52 ones and then another 5 twos. So this is a very small ground. Getting any twos on this ground is tough because the ball flies, both sides of the wicket. So getting twos is important. I think he ran continuously. Also, what he did very well was try and give back the strike to Sanju Samson when Sanju Samson was in his element. So they ran very hard to keep making sure that happened. And that, I think, it's a key, because that allowed Sanju Samson not to lose his rhythm. So I think those things, the kind of things that are going to be important in a tournament like this, especially in the kind of heat and conditions that we have, stamina is going to be a factor. Steve Smith was fit and it mattered for his team today. Again, take a look at it. The kind of running that Steve Smith did between the wickets, say somebody like a Shane Watson at this stage would struggle with. And that may be the difference for this Chennai team in this extreme heat over the next 1.5 to 2 months. Those matter factors could make a difference.
Harsha, your quarantine is almost over. You're set to get into the heat. Are you ready to face that heat?
Gone. My device is gone. Boom now. No, I think Steven Smith's realized that is his game. His game is not a Russell, a Pollard, a Butler kind of game. his guard, hit the gaps, run hard, because otherwise he's not going to score 130 plus. Today he got 146 plus. He clobbered a few sixes down the ground. But if Stephen Smith, then he can't be an anchor scoring at 115, 120. He has to be an anchor scoring at 125, 130. How does he become an anchor scoring at 125, 130? Very hard between the wickets when he's not hitting boundaries. So I think you'll find this approach. It's an admirable approach. I mean, today he scored at 146, which was slightly unusual. He scores 130, then he plays about 40, 50 balls. You don't want him to play 60 balls. You only want to play about 35, 40 balls from there, and then see if he can.
And yes, I know the Boost stamina meter is a lot of scientific parameters to it. But if the folks at Boost will allow me this little indulgence, if you add to Stephen Smith's manner of batting and all the little things he does, put that into the game, you can imagine the stamina is really there. So that's the little non-scientific team part of it. Now, moving on to my 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the Day. And I hope you folks chose well, because we know a few names that are definitely going to be in there. Let's have a look at that. You can see Stephen Smith definitely going to be in there. Sanju Samson, you'd have to have him as captain. Faf du Plessis, vice captain. You didn't think it was going to happen till he got going towards the end when he was 17 of 18. And even MS Dhoni sneaking into the team right in that last over to pick up valuable points. Now, this is the utopian team, the ultimate team of the day. But not everybody would probably have everyone in that right combination. But one person came pretty close. My 11 Circle Champion of the Day. And who is it going to be? It's Debraj Roy from West Bengal, right on cue, because we're going to talk about a team from that part of the world very soon on the show. Well done, Debraj. You got us. You reminded us that we're not going to forget about that team. 354.5 points, and I reckon he would have had a few of those folks as captain. Well done to Debraj. Keep it coming, because we know all of you are active in playing this game. But as I said, since he reminded me, let's also remind all of you that we've had 7 teams on show in this tournament so far. No, I'm not talking about 7 as the number where MST batted today. Let's forget that for a moment. We've seen only 7 teams. How many does this tournament have? 8. Where is team number 8? They haven't played yet. So we need to talk about them, folks. Yes, we do. The team from Kolkata, otherwise I will lose my job in this very segment. It is going to be tomorrow, Kolkata against Mumbai from Abu Dhabi. And of course, Harsha, you don't have to put that mask on now. You can do it tomorrow morning when you go to the ground. Oh, you're saying you're not going to be...
No. What happened when Kyron Pollard, people said he's talking too much, he's getting very angry, he came out to bat with that. So I just thought, this is Kolkata, so Joy... Nah. I'm looking forward to seeing Kolkata.
It's a good message to send out there. Wear a mask when you go out, yeah. But it is true. We've had to wait till today to watch Rajasthan. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow to watch Kolkata play for the first time. Having watched this, I mean, seeing all the other teams go out there, what would they have made of all this so far? And how would that change, if anything, in their heads, their approach? Joy.
Look, I don't think it will change their approach at all. They had the option. I think they was in a situation where they specially requested that, they could allow their players to finish their quarantine. So they'll just be glad that, unlike Josh Butler, they're in a situation where all 4 of their first choice international players are available. That means Morgan, Cummings, Russell, Narayan, and that gives them a hell of a punch. So they've got a solid punch out there. They've got, all the weapons in their armory are available to play with, and that's important for them. Also, yes, it wouldn't hurt that they've had a look at that pitch in Abu Dhabi, and they have a sense of, what it's looking like and what it can play. The rest of the team has been there for quite a while, and it's I'm excited because it's Brendan McCullum's first game as coach of KKR, and he's seen a lot in KKR. He's seen championships, he's seen 9-game losing streaks. So it'll be wonderful to see Brendan at the helm of all this.
Yes, and coming off being a winner in the CPL as well, Brendan McCullum. So he'll be pleased with that title also coming as coach. But before we have a look at the 11s, a quick word on the opposition, Harsha. I know we're all very neutral here, but you're allowed to put on a Mumbai cap.
No. I mean, when Joy was talking, some of you have noticed in the little window that I was looking there, not because I wasn't listening to what Joy was saying. Because MS Dhoni in his post-match press conference said, I haven't batted for a long time, 14-day quarantine doesn't help, that's why I'm batting down the order. He says, I haven't batted for a long time. 14-day quarantine doesn't help. Now let's come to MI. Let's come to MI KKR. MI has been a fantastic top five, brilliant top six. I mean, Hardik and Krunal have to be part of that top six. But you look at that KKR top six and say, is there a six in this tournament? Because if Sunil Narayan fires at the top, and what I like about Sunil Narayan as an opener, they'll sort him out at some point. Here, they'll bowl bouncers into his body. They'll do all that, yes. But Sunil Narayan will never give you 3 of 13 balls. If he's out for 3, it'll be 3 or 4 balls. Not using up time. Then if they get off to a start, suddenly they can tell Nitish Rana, just hang on for a while, because it's going to be Morgan, Karthik, and three are in form. Then it is like a dessert platter which you don't know which one to pick. So KKR are going to be really good. They're bowling, and my fear for them is Pat Cummins is going to bat 7, 8, whatever. But there's a lot of pressure on Pat Cummins. Aside from being the best, he's still a young man who's come out of injury. He doesn't know when the next injury is going to come. He's got money that he didn't dream he would make for a life. So he's going to. Outside of him, Kuldeep Yadav has to bowl well, because there's a lot of inexperience. Because of that under-19 win, there's been a lot of legend that's grown in Kamlesh Nagarkoti. A lot of legend has grown. But listen, these are young kids who played under-19 World Cup and have played very little since. Nagarkoti has not played since 12. How do you know what to expect from him? So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the KKR bowling unless Kuldeep bowls. I'm assuming Sunil Narayan will bowl decently well. If Kuldeep bowls well, then they've got 12 overs of good bowling. Then the others can slip in, a Prasidh Krishna and a Shivam Mavi or a Kamlesh Nagarkoti or some Chakravarti, they can slip in. But they need Kuldeep Yadav, Sunil Narayan, these main bowlers to bowl well.
I think Dinesh Karthik is aware of his conundrum with the quicker bowlers. He's admitted today in the pre-match press conference that he's got some great variety, but in terms of actually choosing who comes and plays in that first 11, it's going to be a headache for him. A good headache, of course, Joy.
Yeah, good headache, but I completely concur with Harsha. Everything is going to depend on how, and I'm not even completely sure of, Pat Cummins is a great international bowler. It's a very different thing bowling in dead pitches. Remember, Pat does really well when there's something in the pitch for him. Either it's Australian conditions or English conditions. These are not ideal conditions for an out-and-out tear-away fast bowler. So look, it's and there's a huge price tag, so it's not going to be easy for him. It's definitely not going to be easy. If they start getting whacked around, that's the thing. And you're absolutely right, Harsha. Kuldeep is the key to all this. Kuldeep last year was missing in action for KKR, and it cost them dearly, because what happens is Sunil Narayan will always give you a certain standard. Sunil Narayan is almost, as a bowler, I mean, he may not be the bowler he was in 2012, after 2014 when the action changed a bit, but he's still a sensational bowler, and he gives you within 90% of that each and every time. So the other guys will have to sort of provide that consistency, provide that spark. I don't see any problem with the batting. I would love to see Russell bowl 2 to 3 overs, because that may take a little pressure off the young fast bowlers.
Yeah, that's going to be a question
with the other team. Yeah, something like that with the other team as well. I think if Hardik Pandya is not bowling, lineup is looking a little slim, because Hardik and Krunal, between them, I think they are for Hardik Krunal between them are 8 overs. Assuming that Bumrah had a bad game, he'll come storming back. Bumrah, Bolt, and Pattinson. That's 12 overs there. But if Hardik doesn't bowl, and if they don't trust Pollard on these pitches, compared to the West Indies, landing in the turf and having a drink and having a chat with Gautam on the beach and then reaching the batsman, if that is not the case, then if Pollard's not going to bowl, 5 bowlers. And I think that's why it's very important that Hardik is deemed fit enough to come in and bowl a few overs. And I mean, that once it gets off to a good start, that's a crazy batting lineup too.
But interesting, just to finish up on that point, I remember, Harsha, seeing a tweet of yours when Pollard was bowling and bowling well in the Caribbean. Yes, it's the conditions, but it's also the mindset about wanting to bowl. Pollard wanted to bowl, Russell wanted to bowl but couldn't. And one of the reasons he said, when I interviewed him on one particular day, he said, I can only bowl when I'm ready to bowl. And I suspect there's going to be lots of bowling for me when I go overseas. And obviously, he was referring to this tournament.
No, with the inexperienced bowling, Russell has to bowl. Russell has to bowl. 6, I'm counting 4 from Narayan and 2 to 3 from Russell. If Russell is going to give you 3 and Rana, or 2 or 3, and Rana is going to give you 1 or 2, then you're taking overs. All good teams take the field with 23, 24 overs. When Hardik Pandya is bowling well, Mumbai Indians take the field with 23, 24 overs. If Russell is bowling an over or 2, KKR enter the tournament with enter the game with 24 overs. So Russell has to bowl, Hardik has to bowl, and I mean I won't be surprised 10, 11, 12 if they sneak 2 overs from Pollard and if Hardik is struggling.
Yes, so many talking points. It's going to be a marquee fixture. And I won't quite get into the head-to-head right now because that leans in Mumbai's favour. I don't think either team will want to think about that because it's a new year, new conditions, new part of the world they're playing in. But let's get on to our joy factor question. We started this particular show with a quiz question, which was sort of self-explanatory. Joy, yours was not quite as self-explanatory. I still haven't got the answer.
Okay, I mean, this is an interesting one, and required. You don't normally see it in the record books. There have been 3 such instances in international cricket. One was between West Indies and New Zealand, another between Canada and Zimbabwe, and that's probably the big clue. And the third is one which you all know about. These are bowl outs in international cricket, T20 international cricket bowl outs. Because remember, the bowl out rule was a very, very short rule. It didn't stay in place for very long. But then it got replaced by the super over. But while it was there, and the match that, of course, all of us remember was the India-Pakistan match, the first match of the 2007 World Cup, where Robin Uthappa bowled and, all the 3 Pakistani bowlers missed their mark. Yes, absolutely. That's incident. So this is the only 3 instances of a bowl out in T20 international cricket. And I think even with all that, the answers came thick and fast. Thank you, Harsha, but these guys are so good.
Joy, that was not me imitating Robin Uthappa. That was me doffing my hat to you.
Thank you. Thank you. But the speed of the answers are unbelievable by these guys.
They so certainly good. Are. And who was fastest? Very quickly. Very quickly is what I heard. But let's go and find out who our winner is today. And I'm glad to say that we've got so many people coming in. We're getting newer and newer winners every day. Amitesh. And yes, get to Amitesh. We had to get to Amitesh really quickly, or rather he had to get to us really quickly to answer that. Excellent answer. Well done, Amitesh. Keep it coming. Keep all our usual suspects on their toes because we want to make sure that we've got.
Why don't we give Amitesh one of the books in Joy's cabinet? Sorry to interrupt. Why don't we give Amitesh one of the books in Joy's cabinet as a prize?
He's pulling it out. He's pulling it out.
Lemony Snicket again. Don't pull out Lemony Snicket again.
Okay. This is the book all of you guys have to read, written by a chap called Ronajay Sen. Amazing book on Indian sport, and it goes far beyond just the headlines and all. Great research. This guy is an academic works out of Singapore, but yeah, heavily recommended. Why not?
There you go. I won't ask about the year of publication. We've had that one going too long. We've tried to keep our promise. We've only come up with 3 that would even classify as bad jokes, but we've been very disappointing otherwise overall. And with Harsha now off quarantine, he'll be sort of saying, okay, I'm so glad to be back in the field. So Harsha, all the best. Get on the field, enjoy it.
Thank you.
We will look forward to listening to you.
I'm back day after. I do MI KKR tomorrow, then I come back in the studio for a couple of days. So if MI do win, then I will be here to offer my condolences.
Fair enough. We'll take you up on that day after tomorrow.
I'm getting flack for going too hard at Joy and the others. Lisa Thalikar, who's down the corridor, said she used to get that when she was supporting Sydney Sixers. She's going on this at some point in the second half of the IPL too. But she keeps telling me, you guys are going too hard at poor Joy. And I said, oh, well, it's a nice guy.
Well, there you have it. Whatever it is, whichever side you support, it's going to be a cracker to look forward to. And that's where we're going to be going tomorrow. Simon Dool will be joining us. It's going to be a game from Abu Dhabi. It's going to be Mumbai taking on Kolkata. We'll all be there. Thank you so much for joining us on all our shows today. Thank you, Harsha. Thank you, Joy. And that's all we have tonight on My 11 Circle Presents Cricbuzz Live.